Hi friends, welcome back to Nook. So I thought about this today, and this is canning season here in Michigan, and I still do a lot of water bath canning even though I do have pressure canners. There are certain things obviously that you water bath and there are certain things that you pressure can, but those who have watched a few of my videos of me getting things ready for my long-term storage, I tell you that I steam can. Now, steam canning is not for everyone. It is something that you have to feel comfortable with. I feel incredibly comfortable with it. I've been doing it for, 6 or 7 years, and I feel more than comfortable with it. As I have gotten older, my ability to lift things and to be independent while cooking, I can't wait. I don't have neighbors all around me. They can come over and help, and my husband works very long hours, and even if he had jobs that weren't such long hours, I want to be, independent. I don't want to have to wait for him to lift things and do things. I want to do things when it's convenient for me. So, all those years ago, I had at first bought a steam canner that was aluminum, and I'll show you a picture of it. I no longer have it. I think I gave it to my sister. It's one like this. All right, and the water goes down here, and then you have the lid, okay? That one worked fine. It does still the 7 quarts, the 9 pints. However, anyone who's been watching me for any length of time knows I do not care for aluminum anything. I don't use aluminum foil. I don't use those aluminum, those things that you take to picnics and the such. I like glass. I like stainless steel. I don't care for nonstick that much, so it's just my personal preference. Plus, I didn't have it even very long, and there became a little hole in the bottom, which could have been easily fixed with some sort of Bondo, not Bondo, I forget what the name of it is, and it could have been fixed easily. But I'm like, I like the idea of what I have here. So I'm going to show you the lid, but it's very small and hard to see. And hopefully with my new microphone, you can hear me. Now, what the lid looks like is something like this. Now, you have to go by what zone you're in. Here in Michigan, we're in the 3, or in the green. So what's going to happen is I have to wait with the lid on, just like how you would with water bath canning and how you have to wait. Now you're going to wait till this is actually in here. It's no longer moving up before you actually start your count time. All right. And that works, like I said, that works very, very well. Now to show you the lid, is like I said, that's why it's really hard. That's why I printed it. It's very hard to see, but it makes it really nice because when it's gotten hot enough to actually go ahead and start your canning process. Now, I'll bring down the camera a little bit here and I'll show you a little bit, and I'll bring it back up and finish talking to you. What I did is I bought mine off Amazon. I'll put the link down below. That first one I showed you, I think, is about $74 right now. This one's in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I checked, it changes all the time. It's canning season, of course, so they can charge whatever they want to charge. But for me, this is also a stainless steel pan. I feel very confident cooking in stainless steel. It cleans up nice. I don't feel like there's leaching of aluminum, and I don't have those fears when I cook with stainless steel. That's why if I can do it, I always will cook on stainless versus nonstick or anything aluminum. So I'll bring it down here a little bit. Now, this is a Victorio brand, okay? I don't know for sure if that one on Amazon is still actually this brand. If they're not, they're probably sister companies. But on the inside, and yes, I do wash this out each time I use it, and I realize there's some mushrooms from the last time I used it. It's got the holder in here that I just go ahead and put my jars on top of. But if you did want to use this as a water bath canner, which stainless steel water bathing would be totally awesome, you're going to go ahead and use it this way. Now, I don't, because I have a very hard time lifting this. Now, what's going to happen is you don't have to fill this with hardly any water at all. You're talking possibly 2 to 3 quarts of water. I can't remember exactly. I just, I see it in there and I know what it is, and that's what I go by. But always definitely check out your owner's manual to know what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and set my 7 quarts or my 9 pints in here. Now, obviously what you're going to want to do is on this is you are going to want to only have foods that process up to like 45 minutes. And people say, well, why 45 minutes? Usually that's like your quarts of tomatoes. Usually most things don't process past 45 minutes. There can't be enough water in there to keep canning for hours. Even like when you water bath, you know, I mean, it doesn't do that very well. And of course, when you do water bath, when I did water bath before I had this, you know, with those blue ones with specs in it, but I have a glass top stove. Okay, so there's a couple different reasons why I do what I do. For one thing, I do have the glass top stove, and when you have like a big canner like this is a 20 quart. And like I said, this is something that, you know, when you have a big family event, I mean, you can do a big, huge batch of chili or whatever have you that's big, you know, spaghetti and meatballs or whatever have you. So this is not just for me for canning. I mean, I've used this for many of different reasons. So that's just one. But for my stove, because I have a glass top stove, and anyone who doesn't have a gas stove and you have like the coils, you got to worry about how much weight that you're putting on those coils or how much weight you're putting on the glass. Because for starters, I mean, 7 quarts of tomatoes, that in itself is incredibly heavy. And then you're talking about, this probably weighs about a pound or 2. The lid probably weighs another pound, okay? So then you have even the empty 7 quarts of jars. That gets very heavy. And then you fill them, then, you know, it's a whole nother conversation there. But what you do is, you know, you still start the water in there. You put it on high. You know, you do your hot or cold, whatever you're doing, however you're starting your canning. And you put the lid on there. Then you wait for this to get in your time zone. And then you wait for it to stop going forth. And that's when you go ahead and you start your timer, and then you throw it like on your medium or whatever. You know what your stove can take. But I don't have to worry so much, even when I have both of these going, because I have 2 of these. With being steam, because like I said, you're only using, you know, 2-3 quarts of water versus having this all the way filled past the rims of the quart jars. That is very heavy. And for anybody that knows, you know, last year I was in the hospital, you know, I had my trach. When I had to lift up on things, I'm very short, I'm only 5'4". When I lift up on things, it's very hard to kind of like, you know, because it affects my breathing like that when I'm all scrunched up like that. So I don't like to do that to begin with. And then, because that's just so much water, even if you wait for it to cool down, but you know, anyone in canning season, we're just boom, 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 boom. We're just to the next batch, the next batch, the next batch, trying to get everything done in a timely manner. You don't always have time to sit there and wait for the water to cool enough to don't make you feel like you're not going to burn yourself. So, you know, even with that, you know, it doesn't take as much time to fill up, you know, the 2 to 3 quarts of water. It doesn't take that much to dump it. You know what I'm saying? I can easily 100% feel completely independent when I use my steam canner. I feel the same way because you're not using a lot of water when you're pressure canning. I feel the same way with pressure canning. I don't have to bug my husband after he's worked a 12 to 14 plus hour day. Hey, honey, let's come can. That doesn't work. I mean, he will help me, don't get me wrong. But that's not his thing. You know, I mean, canning, he enjoys it. He likes to help me when he can. But it's something that, you know, if he didn't have to help me, then he shouldn't have to help me because I should be able to do this myself, which I do. And that's why I have the steam canner. But I'll be putting the links down below. I know a lot of people have asked, you know, what do I think of it and why? And I never thought to make a video until today. But like I said, I love them. I love the stainless steel. I love that, you know, when you're looking at this, once you're in the right zones, you know that you're at the right temperatures. And that's very, very, very important. So, I mean, definitely, I mean, if it's in the money for you to do it, you may not be able to do 2 of them. You know, a lot of people, they say I have a lot of gadgets, which I do. But when I get things like this, when I say a gadget, it could be just one of these a year. It could be a real gadget, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, this is not something that's always in everybody's price range. Neither is a pressure canner. But you know, when you start canning, you have a huge, very, very huge upfront cost of canning that it quickly gets spread back out because you're not having to go out and buy canners. You're just having to buy jars and lids and bands and the such. So if you have any questions down below, let me know. I will go ahead and tag this one and the other one down below in the description. You're always welcome to ask me any questions. If you're not already a subscriber, feel free to subscribe, like, share, and if there's any questions I can answer for you, please let me know. And like I said, I do love this because I like the independence of being able to do this on my own without any help. And especially if you're older and you live on your own and you don't have someone to help you, this is a way you can still can, but you don't have to lift those big, heavy, huge pans and possibly tip it or, you know, whatever that can happen. And then, of course, this is going to work, to me, just like any of the pressure canners, my Instapots or whatever. A couple years ago, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. I was canning some tomatoes, and I wasn't busy that night, so I don't know really what my problem was. And did I not just take my lid off and just open it up right after the time went off? Don't do that. Still, just like your water bath canner, like your pressure canner, let that set, you know, for the good 10 minutes or so after, you know, your thing goes down for your pressure canner, or has been set there for at least a good 10 minutes after your water bath. Do not ever, 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 ever right away lift up that lid. What I usually like to do is after it's been sitting there for a few minutes, I'll just kind of like, you know, like when it's been there about 10 minutes or so, then I'll crack that just a little bit to let a little bit of air in there, but not all the way. Once I let that set for about another 5 minutes, always open the jar or, you know, the lid away from you so you don't get any steam damage, because that will burn you and that will hurt really bad. And this way, you know, like if a lid does want to explode, like my couple lids did, I had tomatoes all over my kitchen. It looked like a murder scene in here. But this way, if something did happen, you can quickly close the lid and, you know, not have tomatoes or whatever you're cooking all over your kitchen. So definitely keep that in mind. And like I said, that's something that, you know, you're gonna keep in mind for water bathing or pressure canning. Always open the lid away from you. Don't just open the lid right away, because you will have jars explode, and that's not very pretty. I got my face, I got my arms. It was my hands. I mean, it was bad. I mean, I burnt myself pretty bad. So just don't do that. And this is going to work the same way. So just definitely don't do it even on this. I like having the clear, you know, the see-through glass lid, because you can see what's going on. You know, if you're happy to be like, oh, you know, how's your stuff looking? Or like if you hear any sounds like, oh, it sounds like my jar broke, or, you know, because, you know, that still happens even if it's brand new jars. You can look in there and you can see before the 45 minutes are over, or whatever your time is that you're timing, that if a jar did break, so you know you can prepare yourself that, you know, okay, well, a jar broke or whatever have you. That luckily has, I mean, I think maybe 2 jars have broke in my time of canning, which I think is very, very good. So anyways, if you have any questions, like I said, put them down in the comments down below, and I hope this can help you decide if you do want a steam canner. And yeah, so thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you have a very blessed and wonderful day.